Hey guys, it's May, build the universe. Just kidding. Not English. Why did I even do that? Why do I think that things are funny in my mind? I don't know. Maybe that's a me thing. Maybe it's everyone. Maybe like you know how you swear you're the funniest person? Anyway, I am doing the compatibility chart of Jacob Elordi and Damn, bro. Margot Robbie. I know who she is, okay? It's not like I don't know who she is. I saw Barbie. I saw I, Tanya. I saw other movies she's done. I like her a lot. Jacob Elordi is very fine. He's sexy. I don't know. He's not like exactly my type. I'm kind of more of a Aaron Taylor Johnson kind of guy. But yeah, I mean, shit, I ain't picky. Damn, if Jacob came up to me and was saying, "Hey, will you go on our date?" I would be like, "Yes, I will marry you." Damn, I am so unprepared. And I was gonna give a shout out to the person who recommended this video. But anyway, I'm so sorry that whoever you are, you know who you are, and I'm giving you a shout out right now. So shout out to this person. Thank you for recommending this. I don't really do compatibility charts. I do them like professionally, and if someone wants to like pay for a compatibility chart reading, I will do it, but I actually rarely put them out like as videos. I usually just do regular chart readings, or I'll talk about different metaphysics, nakshatra, stuff like that. But yeah, I think this is like the third or fourth maybe compatibility chart that I've done like in the 5 years that I've been Build the Universe. So anyway, thank you for recommending this. I actually knew that they were both Rahu people. Rahu people are very good looking. They're rarely not. When they are not good looking, they're actually pretty ugly. Oh my god. But it's true. I mean, it's true. It's just that Rahu people are so sensitive. So it really kind of depends on whether they're willing. How willing are they to cover up their sensitivity? So what happens is with women, they're so sensitive and they cry all the time. For example, you know who else is a Rahu woman is Drew Barrymore. She's so sensitive. You know what I mean? So with women, they will be very beautiful. They'll be so sensitive, and sometimes just to kind of like cover up that sensitivity, a lot of times the women will kind of do it with vanity, so they'll kind of overdo it with the makeup, with the lipstick, with the, on one hand, they're very pretty. Rahu women usually have cherubic cheeks. I do wonder what she looked like as a youth, because I know with actresses, well, actors too, but especially with actresses, I feel like they have that pressure to be underweight, if anything. So a lot of times, Rahu women, even though they have like cherubic cheeks, they won't have that if they're famous, because they either got buccal fat removal or they're just underweight from extreme dieting, stuff like that. For example, who's a beautiful Rahu woman with cherubic cheeks is Rachel Weisz. Big eyes, apples on her cheeks. That's classic Rahu. And so is Rihanna. Rihanna has Rahu in her first house. Again, big eyes, those nice sitting apples on her cheeks, And Margot Robbie has that too. I don't really see so much of the cheeks part, but I do see the big eyes. And the other thing about Rahu, and then as far as Rahu men go, Rahu men are just as sensitive. So when you have two Rahu people together like this, they got together for a movie called Wuthering Heights. I know the book. I read it years ago in high school. I don't remember anything. Like I could read it again today and it would be like the first time reading it. But it's a romance, isn't it? For those two to do a romantic movie together, for two Rahu people to do a romantic movie together, that actually makes a lot of sense, because Rahu can be very much about the illusion, and they can be very romantic. They can be like very carried away with the romance. You know what I mean? But anyway, when men are Rahu people, they are just as sensitive. They're so motherfucking sensitive. Like, honestly, in my opinion, Rahu people are the most Rahu, especially Rahu men, are the most sensitive people out there. Like, you can say one little joke teasing them, and they will remember, like, forever. They won't say it because Rahu people are very protective of their energy, but they remember. They remember, and they might even hold it against you one day 10 years from now. Rahu people are like that. I'm sorry, because they're so sensitive. So with the men, a lot of times they will either wear their emotions on their sleeve, so then they'll wind up being fat, they'll wind up being kind of simp-ish, or they will just they will just bury themselves in their muscles, in their good looks, and they will actually be kind of dickheads, and it's because they are so sensitive, and it's like they want to beat you to the punch. It's that they want to overcompensate. So it's more, so you get a lot of Rahu men that are actually, you have to be kind of, you kind of have to have a thick skin to get along with Rahu men and Rahu people in general, especially the Rahu men that like overcompensate with an attitude and stuff like that. Because also when you have like a really nice body, you get a lot of unwanted attention. You know what I mean? So and because they're so sensitive, a lot of times they'll be mean. Not even because they're mean, just because they're so sensitive. And then specifically the star of Ardra. Ardra Nakshatra. Sorry, that was so racist. What is wrong with me today? Ardra Nakshatra. Ardra Nakshatra. Ardra Nakshatra. That's a star in Gemini. This is Vedic astrology. This is not normal astrology. This is real astrology. This is accurate astrology. This is the real deal holy field astrology, okay? So both of them are the star of Ardra. And I wonder if either of them are bisexual, because Gemini is a bisexual sign. Sorry, it just is. That's actually more Mrigashira, but I do see Ardra people being bisexual. Rahu people are sexual in general. It's a very wealth star, not star, energy, and it's a very sexual energy, and it's a very materialistic energy too. Which is again why I'm saying a lot of them can. It's kind of easy for them to cover up their vulnerability with vanity. Which is why sometimes Rahu people, like I said, they'll be either fat and kind of eat their feelings, or they'll be very beautiful, just like so fucking beautiful. And it's especially this nakshatra right here, Ardra, because in ancient Vedic astrology, one symbol, there's actually two symbols. One of it is the teardrop. Like I said, there's so much emotion, so much emotion, a lot of crying, a lot of deep kind of wounds, kind of deep emotional wounds. But on the other hand, the other symbol for Ardra Nakshatra is the diamond, because there comes a point. There's another Vedic astrologer that kind of said this, and I'm taking this from him, but he said it, and he said it so well. He said this is kind of a make or break nakshatra, and I completely motherfucking get that, because these people, they're on the threshold. They're like, am I gonna be overrun by my emotions and start eating my feelings and just kind of let it overtake me, or am I gonna master this like deep kind of almost like deep it's not a brokenness, but it's a deep like a deep wound. What can I say? Or am I gonna master this? Because a lot of times when Ardra Nakshatra masters this deep wound, this inner turmoil, these inner emotions, these inner storms, because the rainstorm is another symbol associated with Ardra Nakshatra. When they master it, when they overcome it, when they come through on the other side, they become a diamond, which is they become rich, they become beautiful, they become very, very admired. Ardhara Nakshatra is a very, like that, like he said, like that Vedic astrologer said, it's a very make or break nakshatra. And I think that's just so interesting. And so they're both Ardhara sun because he was born on June 26th. That's the very, very beginning days of Ardhara Nakshatra. And then Margot Robbie was born July 2nd. I'm just now realizing that Margot Robbie and my aunt have the same birthday. And my aunt, again, of all my brothers and all my aunts and uncles, she is the most emotional one. But it's funny because we're her family and we know how emotional she is. But in public, she's kind of a fucking bitch. And of all my aunts, she's got the best body. She has the most money. She is very, very beautiful. So, like, this is what I'm saying. This is like, on one hand, it's the teardrop, but on the other hand, it's the diamond. So it's like all of them are so sensitive, but at the same time, they have this moment where they need to make a decision. Are you going to let your vulnerability kind of overtake you, or are you going to master it so that you can come across the other side? I mean, what is a diamond? It's carbon that's been pressurized. And that's exactly what Ardha Nakshatra is that it goes through all this pressure, and it's up to you. What are you going to do with that pressure? Are you going to let it break you, or are you going to let it transform you into a diamond? So, I think that's very interesting. So they both have this part. So that means both their suns are conjunct. When you have two people with both their suns conjunct, that's such a great thing. Sun is your vitality. Sun is your ego. Sun, but it doesn't have to be bad. It could just be you express yourself. It's a very healthy sense of the word I. So when you have two conjunct suns, you can get along with them so well. It's very, very, very easy to get along with someone whose sun is conjunct to your sun. Sometimes it can be a bit of a competition because there is ego there, and this is the sun. If it was Venus conjunct Venus, there would be lots of love. There would be the same love language. There would be the same love everything. If it was Saturn conjunct Saturn, it would mean that they both have the same work ethic. They both have the same, idea of how to structure things. If they both had conjunct Jupiters, they both have the same philosophical views. But this is Sun conjunct Sun, which means they both have a similar way of expressing themselves. And the fact that they're both actors just makes total sense. So it could mean that, like, when it comes to acting, they actually kind of have very similar methods. They might have very similar ways of expressing themselves. They have very similar ways of acting. Like if one of them is if Jacob Elordi is, like, say, a method actor, then maybe Margot Robbie would also be a method actor. You know what I mean? They might have the same philosophy when it comes to what kind of roles they choose, stuff like that. And obviously that can be true because they both decided to do this movie together. Like I said, Rahu is big on the romance. A lot of times, like, Venus is big on the romance, obviously. Leo is big on the romance, but Rahu is really, really big on the romance. Rahu lives for that shit. Rahu is almost like Venus in a way. And that makes sense because one of the Rahu stars, Svati, is actually sitting in Libra, which is Venus. But yeah, having both of their sun in Ardhara Nakshatra, Ardhara is also just very multi-talented because it's Gemini, right? Gemini has a lot of skills. Gemini is very good talker, has a lot of intellectual abilities. Gemini is also... did I say multi-talented? Multifaceted. They have a lot of different talents. They can do a lot of different things. They're good writers. I wonder if they're writers. And yeah, so they could just have a lot of similarities. Even, like, if they don't get along, they could still, like, not get along privately, but when it comes to work, they actually get along really, really well. They actually, move kind of in the same way. So I think that's very interesting. Now, looking at their Rahu, because when we look at actors, a lot of times we do look at their Rahu, because Rahu, like I said, is illusion. And when you're an actor, you're putting on an illusion. You're putting on a front. Not to say that you're lying, but I mean, when your profession is acting like something or acting like someone that you're not, I mean, That's lying. That's what it is. What's funny is that yes, both of their sons are in Ardha Nakshatra, but Jacob's Rahu is in Uttara Falguni. First of all, it's part of why he's so fucking sexy, because one, he's just sexy, but also Uttara Falguni is it's the most masculine placement in all of the zodiac is Uttara Falguni. And the astrologer Claire Nocti said that most of the men who've been on the sexiest man alive on People magazine are Uttara Falguni ascendant, like Mel Gibson, the Deadpool guy, the blonde dude, I forget his name, Ryan Reynolds, the actor Sinners, he just won the Academy Award, the black man, what's his name? Michael B. Jordan. He's an Uttara Falguni ascendant. So it's a very handsome. I dated this guy who was Uttara Falguni ascendant, and I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of tough because like all these dudes would throw themselves at him while we were at lunch. Like we would be on a date, and like our waiter would flirt with him. I'm just like, what the fuck, bro? But yeah, Uttara Falguni, it just had a lot of sex appeal, you know. Where is his Rahu? Oh, it's on the Leo side. Oh, okay. Wow. So Jacob Elordi's Rahu and Mars is in Uttara Falguni. This is really good for directing. I wonder if he's ever interested in directing. But anyway, point is his Rahu is ruled by the sun. It's the most masculine placement. Margot Robbie's Rahu is in Shravana. That's the moon. Moon. So his Rahu is ruled by the sun. Hers is ruled by the moon. Sun is the most masculine placement. It's the most masculine planet. Moon is the most feminine planet. So the fact that they both are a Rahu sun, which is Ardha Nakshatra, and their actual Rahu is in the sun, and hers is the moon. That means when they get together, you see his masculinity come out. You see her femininity come out. And Rahu is just all about sensual desires, and it's all about just looking the part, you know what I mean? So the fact that when I looked at if you look at this like cover photo, I was like, I literally said out loud, I was like, yes, like look at them, they look like they're in love, they look like they were meant to be together, you know what I mean? I mean, his Rahu, like I said, is ruled by the most masculine planet, sun, and her Rahu is ruled by the most feminine planet, moon. So I find that very, very, very interesting. And you could energetically feel it. Just all this masculinity on his part and all this femininity. It's kind of like a Romeo and Juliet thing. You know what I mean? It's like she was a boy, he was a girl. Can I make it any more obvious? Anyway. He was a skater boy. Anyway, she's a Rahu person too, actually. Not gonna lie. What's her name? She's like a bitch. What's her name? The girl from Canada. She's Swati. Like I said, that's Rahu. Anyway, moving on. His Mars is in Virgo, and hers is in Pisces. That's interesting. So like I said, first of all, that's opposite, so that's actually not a great thing. That actually does mean that their method, or where they put their energy, can be very, very opposite. It could mean that he is actually a lot more methodical and kind of high strung, even because Virgo is the most, y'all know Virgos, most high strung energy alive. And then hers is in Pisces. Pisces is liberation. Pisces is chill, actually. Pisces likes to dance, likes to drink, likes to fuck. And then Virgo is very studious, fastidious. Virgo has like OCD, you know what I mean? So the fact that their Mars are complete opposite of each other, on one hand, that actually does make their energy, where they store their energy, completely opposite. But what that does is it creates a sexual tension. So I've never seen Wuthering Heights. I've never read. Haven't read it in like 30 years, but from this chart does it start out with them not being friends, or starting with this like crazy tension or something like that, where they seem like opposites, or they kind of like they start the movie with all like the storyline with all these like opposites that are like they're having all these conflicts, something like that, and then boom, but at the same time they like can't deny their sexual tension. Mars is the most sexual planet. Venus is very sexual too, but Venus is very sexual and it's very hedonistic. But Venus is also very harmonic and it's very loving, and it's a benefit. It's a benefic planet. You know, it's a feminine planet, so it's still positive. Mars is fucking. Mars is the actual genitals. This is why Mars rules the first house and the eighth house. First house of the body and eighth house of the genital penetration, cutting, blood. So Mars is a warrior. Mars is the penetration aspect of love, the sexual aspect of love is represented by Mars. So you know, this would indicate there's just a lot of like sexual energy there, even if it's not perfectly aligned, even if it's not necessarily even healthy. This would mean, like I said, it's like a Romeo and Juliet thing. You know, it's just like it's like opposites attract, basically. It's like they're both opposite in a certain way, but at the same time they're both, you know, because Virgo and Pisces, when you have opposite like that, this is what I always think. I always like to say opposites is people who are completely the opposite, but at the same time the exact same or just the same. Someone said that in numerology about the numbers 1 and 9. And it's so funny because my best friend of 25 years is a 1 and I'm a 9. And so it was funny because we are complete opposites. You know, sometimes I'm like, how are we friends? And that numerologist was like, yeah, 1 and 9, they're complete opposite, but and yet they're the exact same. I'm just like, man, that really hits home. That makes sense. And so the fact that they have Mars opposite of each other, it's kind of like that same energy. It's like they're completely opposite, but and at the same time, they're on the same plane because they are 180 degrees away from each other, being in Virgo and Pisces. Again, a lot of sexual tension here. What else? Venus and Punarvasu conjunct her ascendant. So his Venus is sitting in her first house. That's a really wonderful thing. This is someone who they could actually be in a romantic relationship together when with this aspect alone. Alone. I emphasize the word alone. When you do compatibility charts, yes, you can have some good placements, that you have to look at the whole thing, right? So the fact that his Venus is sitting in her first house, that's a big love indicator. You know, it also could have been that Jacob Elordi was very sexually turned on, or very romantically turned on just by looking at Margot Robbie, because Margot Robbie is the ascendant here, right? And then he is the Venus. So the fact that his Venus is conjunct her ascendant, that means that his Venus is being activated just by looking at her. Like as soon as it's like almost like love at first sight type of thing. But it's so funny because that makes sense with the whole tension thing. It's like when they see each other, it's like love at first sight, but then again they have Mars opposite each other, so then that puts that sexual tension there, but then it's opposite, so it's like there is going to be friction, there is going to be like a delay of the meeting of the minds. It's like it's kind of like saying like, gosh, we belong together, but why isn't it working out? You know what I mean? It's kind of that energy. His moon is trine her moon because his moon is in Aquarius and her moon is in Libra. First of all, that's air. Air is always romantic. I couldn't tell you why. I think because air signs are air nakshatras are a lot of times Vishnu nakshatras. Vishnu nakshatras are the hardworking nakshatras. Vishnu nakshatras are the maintenance nakshatras. That means that they are, if there was moon or Ketu, they would be like very spiritual. They might be princesses. They might be like kind of selfish. Um, if it was air, and if it was like fire, then they can have great sex together. But it would be like kind of raunchy sex, and then they would just be friends. But it's air, and air is Vishnu, so they have they're just more like they're more about the typical what we think love and romance looks like. And Venus nakshatras and Mars nakshatras are like that. So and both of those are Vishnu planets. So Vishnu is all about maintenance. Vishnu does the best on Earth. So Brahma is more like spiritual pursuits. Shiva is more like resetting, like breaking things down, and then like introducing a new theme type of thing. But then Vishnu is about like maintaining things. So this is also why I feel like the most married couples, the most like romantic type of thing, like kind of tropes or templates, you'll see it actually in the Vishnu ones, because Vishnu people are, like I said, it's maintenance. So they're about maintaining things, including relationships and marriages and stuff like that. So if you get Vishnu people that are together, they might divorce, honestly, because Vishnu breaks things down. Brahma people, they will create. They might not marry at all. Actually, Brahma people are they create. So they're actually very happy with themselves. That's why they can come across as kind of selfish in a little bit, because they're actually very self satisfied. But like I said, Vishnu people, which is this is the air signs, their maintenance. This is like Earth. So these people are these people are very smart. The fact that they're Ardra sun, Ardra people are very good at math and science, and they're also very good engineers. They're very logical people. You know who is a Ardra person is Elon Musk, and he's an engineer, right? Um, and so, like I said, oh, and he's been married many, many times. He's been married many times. He has a lot of kids. So, maintenance people like marriage. They enjoy it. And the fact that their moon is trying each other, it just means that doesn't even matter like the modality or the sign or the nakshatra. The fact that it's just trying each other, that just means that it's almost like a psychic connection. It's just very, very, very easy to read each other's mind. So I can see why this is a really kind of hot and heavy compatibility. Okay, moving on. Mars trine Venus. So his Virgo Mars is trine her Taurus Venus. No wonder she's beautiful. She's got Ketu and Pushya in the first house. So she's a Cancer ascendant with um with a Mula Trikona Venus. No wonder she's beautiful. And she's Fati's moon. Wow. Man, no wonder she's so pretty. So yeah, his Mars is trine her Venus. Very, very good. Good sex. It actually doesn't make it so it doesn't actually make the sex like really, really hot. It doesn't make it them really, really horny for each other. Sometimes you don't even necessarily have to get along with someone, but damn, y'all know how to fuck. Like the sex is just good. It is warm and passionate and explosive. That is more when Mars is square someone's Venus, because there's that tension. But when someone's Mars is trine someone's Venus, that kind of rounds it out a little bit. There's still good sexual understanding between the two, but that doesn't really mean that they're so hot and passionate for each other. Actually, this is a really good placement for a marriage, because in a marriage, of course, sex is important. In any romantic relationship, sex is important, but This is saying that they won't let sex be the focal point. And when you're married, you shouldn't let sex be the focal point, because you're not both going to be these sex machines that are going to fuck till you're 89 years old. Like, you have to be friends with your spouse. You know, you have to be a homie with your spouse, you know. And when you have Mars trine Venus, you can also be a lover, but with a good temperament. When you have it square, that can mean that you'll fight and then you'll fuck, and then you'll fight and then you'll fuck. And then sometimes that gets unhealthy. But when it's trine, like these two people, it means that they actually have like a more mature type of love, that they still love each other. They still can get hot and heavy with each other, but it's more controlled, it's more tempered. So that's actually a really good thing. That's actually a really good placement for, like I said, a marriage. Their Jupiters are trying each other. Again, it's just good philosophical understanding. You know, good philosophical understanding. They both respect each other's freedom, because either they both respect each other's freedom. Wait, where is their Jupiter? Let me look. Hold on. His Jupiter is in Dhanishta. Okay, that's Mars Nakshatra, and hers is in Punarvasu. That's your Jupiter Nakshatra. Okay. So yeah, they kind of respected each other's freedom, and also, especially, wow, that's interesting. Both of them is in the 12th house. Yeah, they definitely respect each other's freedom, because 12th house is about traveling, which makes sense because they're both actors. But it also, the fact that one is ruled by Mars, one is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is kind of like Mars when he's grown up and old. And then when Jupiter looks at Mars, Jupiter's like, oh, yes, I was you once. I used to be just like you. I was young and hung, and just kidding. I was young and rough and full of vigor. And, you know, Jupiter was like that when he was a young man. You know, Jupiter was a warrior when he was a young man. So Jacob has his Jupiter in the 12th house, in the in Dhanishta, ruled by Mars, and then hers is in the 12th house, in Punarvasu, which is ruled by Jupiter. So Jupiter is in a Jupiter nakshatra. So, but they're both in the 12th house. So yeah, they both respect each other's space. They both they're not like overly possessive of each other, which is a really, really good thing. I didn't see any bad lunar aspects. When you say have bad lunar aspects, that means someone's jealous, someone's possessive, someone's like, where were you? You know, but I don't see that. You know, and the fact that they're both of their Jupiters are trying, why are they trying? Because it's the same element? Oh yeah, because hers is in Gemini and his is in Aquarius. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so they're both air again. It means that this is the kind of relation, if they were to be a couple, they would respect each other's freedom. They would respect each other's like need to travel. And because it's an air, which is communication, all they really need is that open line of communication, and they'll be just fine. You know what I mean? Like, if they were together, they wouldn't actually have to be so like tied to each other. And like I said, there's no like really bad lunar aspects. When you have bad lunar aspects in a relation, in a compatibility reading, someone's jealous. Someone is missing you. Someone has like dependency issues. You know, but I don't see that here. All right, guys. Well, I do like this. The fact that they're both Ardha Nakshatra, which is conjunct suns, and the fact that both of them have one has a solar Rahu and the other one has a lunar Rahu. That's also really, really good. Moon trine moon. That means it's a good psychic connection. This I love. The fact that his Venus is sitting in her first house. I think that's fucking awesome. I think that's very beautiful. It means that he fell in love the first time. Did he say that? Did he say? I think I did read an interview where he was just like, yeah, I mean, just the fact that I got to work with Margot Robbie. I mean, she's so beautiful. I just fell in love the first time I saw her. He said something like along those lines. So I think that's very interesting. Definitely is here in the chart. Again, thank you to that one person who, I'm sorry I didn't look up your name before I did this chart. But yeah, there it is. Okay, bye. Oh, one more thing. Schedule a chart reading with me. What if you want your chart reading, or if you want me to do a compatibility reading with you and someone else, hit me up. Okay. My email is billoftheuniverse@gmail.com. Billoftheuniverse1111 is my TikTok handle, and then you already know my YouTube. Okay, bye.